Perfect. Seems like we're live now. Welcome, everyone. And again, welcome to the opening ceremony of EDU Chain Hackathon. Super excited to kick it off on Dora Hacks with the amazing team. We have Megan, Jake, Lynn, Shan, and Ankit with us today. And thank you, everyone, for joining in. Just as starters, before I hand the mic to these amazing people over here, I'd love to tell you EDU Chain is the hackathon by Open Campus with a bunch of amazing sponsors like Animoca Brand, Forbes Web3, TinyTap, ApeCoin, Ryzen, New Campus, HackWest, which definitely the team will elaborate on more. As we also have different tracks, and this is the semester one of the hackathon with a prize pool of $200,000, which means that we have successfully kickstarted a series of great events for you. So yeah, we will have more coming from the team. Time to time, 20 winners will be selected from the key tracks, that is DeFi and Infra, and 12 winners from 4 other tracks, that is Edufy, Learn and Earn, and Miscellaneous. Basically, everything that we haven't covered in these 5 tracks. But yeah, without taking much of a time, I'd like to pass it on to Jake. Jake, please feel free to introduce the team today and then kickstart what you have for the devs.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just going to start by playing a video for everyone, and then we'll do some intros to the rest of the team and get started with the ceremony. But yeah, to kick things off, I just wanted to play this. Amazing. Yeah, so thank you for watching the video. I'm going to pass over to Sean for a quick introduction. You can get to know us a little bit better too.
Hey, welcome everybody. Thanks, Jake, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you guys are dialing in from, or if you're catching the live stream afterwards. Welcome to the first EDU Chain Hackathon opening ceremony. So we're thrilled to have you all here today. We've got myself, the Dora Hacks team. Thank you for putting this together. We've also got Jake from our team, as well as Ankit from the Ryzen team, who we're going to be going through a few different things about the hackathon today. Hopefully we'll answer your questions, but throughout this, if you do have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. The team are monitoring the chat. They'll try and pick it up and pass these on for the Q&A session at the end. If we don't have time to cover your question or all the questions, don't worry. We're still going to log those, and we will have all of these being looked at in Discord itself. So if you're not in the Discord already, please do join. There'll be a lot of opportunities for ongoing Q&A there. But first, let me introduce you to the guys speaking today. So I'm Shan, I'm head of ecosystem here at EDU Chain. So you'll be seeing a lot of me here. I'm going to pass over to Jake, who's our co-host.
Yeah, thanks, Sean. And for those of you who don't know yet, I'm marketing lead at Open Campus and also the marketing lead within the incubations team at Animoca. Working very closely on this hackathon event, and I've been working on Open Campus since September last year. So I've been lucky enough to be part of the ecosystem growth that has happened there. There's been a ton happening since I joined, and it's been a pleasure to work on. I've been in the Web3 space for the past 4 years, working across varying different niches of Web3, but can genuinely say I've not been as passionate about anything else I've worked on as Open Campus. So it's a pleasure to be talking to you today about Open Campus, EDU Chain, and what we're trying to achieve. And very much looking forward to working with some of you listening on helping us to achieve that mission that we're going to talk through today. And I'll pass over to Ankit now for a quick introduction before we go to the rest of the ceremony.
Thanks, Jake. Thanks, Sean. I'm super excited to be here alongside you guys. So I'm head of growth at Ryzen, which is a Web3 education company, and we help learn developers Web3 skills for free across the world. And I'm also looking into developer ecosystem growth at EDU Chain, and I'm super excited to and humble to kind of work alongside you guys. And I'm going to be very active on Discord during the entire hackathon and from and forever as well, because I really, really believe in the power of education. So I've never been to college, and I think the only thing that kind of made me successful till now is hanging around really good people and also being able to get good education, not the formal one. So I really believe, I'm the I can say that I can be a poster boy for this edu chain as well, right? So feel free to ping me on Discord, and we are going to be there across the next 1 month, 24/7 available to you to help make sure that you build really, really cool projects on EduChain. Back to you, Sean.
Thanks, Ankit. So yeah, look, you're going to see us all throughout the next month or so. Feel free to reach out whenever. We're always here for you. You'll see us in, the upcoming workshops. You'll see us in the AMAs as well, but connect with us on Twitter as well. Our line's always open for you guys. So I'm just going to do a quick thank you to our sponsors today. So obviously you've got Animoca Brands, who are a co-partner of Open Campus. We've got Forbes Web3, who need no introduction. TinyTap, another co-launch partner, who are a Web2, now Web3 edtech company. So you'll see a lot of their name around Open Campus. ApeCoin, of course, needs no introduction, part of the Ape community. And of course, big thank you to Ryzen and HackQuest, our developer ecosystem partners, who are really going to be helping us and you guys and EDU Chain over the coming, not just month, but years to come, right, to help build out this developer ecosystem. And then last but not least, New Campus, one of the big supporters, also co-lead in Open Campus, who have also helped us put together today's session. So thank you to all our great sponsors. All right, so let's go through a quick agenda today. We're going to start by talking a bit about Open Campus, who we are, what we're doing, what the mission is. We're going to talk a bit about the hackathon and then go through the different tracks available. So talking about the themes, the prizes that track against the themes, why they fit together the way they do. We're then going to talk a bit about the guidelines around the hackathon itself. So what do you need to do? What do you need to put together in order to be successful in this hackathon? And then finally, to answer the question, what kind of support can we give you and help you be successful in this endeavor? So, over to you, Jake.
Yeah, thanks, Sean. And I think the best place to start is to talk about what exactly Open Campus is. This might be the first time you've heard about us, hopefully not, but if not, we're going to talk through exactly what we are and what we've achieved so far since our launch. So simply, Open Campus is a decentralized education ecosystem, and we're also set up as a DAO foundation, which is led by a really passionate community that cares about the future of education. That's what's binding us all together, is that kind of core belief that blockchain technology can change the future of education. And the mission of this DAO and our community is broken down into a few different areas. The first kind of headline is that we are trying to build the infrastructure to bring the $5 trillion education industry on chain. And as part of that, we want to onboard the next 100 million learners into Web3. They're very big numbers and very big goals, but something that we're already chipping away at and achieving so far. And we believe by bringing education on chain, we're going to find new ways to elevate teachers, hopefully create a bunch of new learning experiences for students as well. And another core part of this whole ecosystem and mission is we want to invest into innovative projects and companies within the world of education. And that's a really big part of what we do. And we can talk more a little bit later about how we're specifically doing that for developers as well. But before that, I just wanted to give you a bit of an insight into the origin story, because I think it's quite important to know where we've come from as well. So Open Campus is around a year old, and it was born out of a partnership between Animoca and TinyTap. You can think of Yatsu and Yogev Shelley, the founder of TinyTap, as sort of the founding fathers of Open Campus. They were the guys that got it off the ground. And what they noticed is that no one was really talking about the challenge of bringing blockchain technology to the education industry. So they started working together and developing some blockchain protocols that could do just that. And since those early conversations, so much has happened. And just to highlight a few key things of what we've achieved so far is we've launched the EDU token, which ended up being the second largest launch on Binance Launchpad, which is a huge milestone and kind of kickstarted the whole ecosystem. We've also managed to tokenize educational content with new NFT protocols. We've launched Open Campus ID, which now has over 500,000 learners using that. We've managed to build a creator network with Forbes Web3, and we've also launched a $10 million accelerator program. So some huge things we've done just within the last 12 months, and we've got a very exciting roadmap as well to continue those achievements. And one thing I wanted to make sure I touched on as well is that we are a community, we are an ecosystem, so we couldn't do that without all of the partners that work with us. And to date, we have around 80 partners, and these are made up of leading Web3 companies, amazing edtech startups, some schools and universities like GEMS Education and even Cambridge Uni we've started working with more recently. And combined, all of these companies have 20 million addressable learners for us to tap into. And I've already mentioned that we have around 500,000 Open Campus ID holders. And by the end of the year, what we're trying to achieve is building up a learner base of 3 million learners through this network of partners that we've already got. And what we're trying to do with all of these partners that are part of the Open Campus Alliance is change education. And what I mean by that is we are trying to build the home for education on chain. So what we're trying to do is whenever someone in education wants to explore blockchain or Web3, we want them to think of Open Campus. And to do that, we're developing new blockchain protocols for education and building this community of partners that are ready to adopt them. And why we believe blockchain technology is a kind of key catalyst to change the education sector is we think it can innovate across finance sections of education. We think it can innovate across how students will learn, how teachers can earn, and like much more. So wanted to talk a little bit as well about some of the core pillars of the ecosystem and how we are trying to innovate in those areas of education. So what you can see on screen here is the 4 different pillars, and I'm going to touch on 3 of them for today. One of them I've already touched on a little bit, but I just wanted to go into more detail around Open Campus ID. And what this is essentially the identity and reputation layer for Open Campus and the EDU Chain ecosystem. We're calling it the Proof of Education Protocol. And what this is a way for people to record their academic achievements and education achievements on chain, on EDU Chain. And this will be a large driver of transaction volume for the EDU Chain. And like I've already said, at the moment, we've got around 500,000 holders, and that's a number that we're actively growing every day. And all of these Open Campus ID holders will be encouraged to use the DApps that are built on our ecosystem. So that's a core part of the user base for EDU Chain. And the second thing I wanted to touch on is the content pillar that we're focused on, and why this is a core part of the strategy as we build out our ecosystem is that to learn, students need access to educational content. It's just kind of a fundamental aspect of any education ecosystem. So that's why we're heavily focused on building out a content hub for EDU Chain, and this will be for content-focused DApps and infrastructure. This will go alongside some of the NFT protocols that we've already got. And it's part of that core pillar because we believe if we can innovate on educational content, we're going to create better earning opportunities for teachers. And if teachers are paid better, that has a knock-on effect for students as well with higher quality educational content. So it's a big part of what we're trying to do for our ecosystem. And the final thing that I'm going to touch on this slide is the funding and acceleration. As much as we'd like to, we can't create everything for this education on chain ecosystem. So a big part of what we need to do as well is find and support the people that can. And I've touched on it a little bit around the $10 million accelerator fund that's set up, and already that's onboarded 60 companies this year with plans to onboard 40 more by the end of 2024. So that's a big part of how we are finding the people to come and build with us. And Sean's going to talk a little bit more about the developer cohort for the accelerator program as well. So hopefully that's given you a bit more of an insight about what Open Campus is and some of our core pillars. And I'm going to hand over to Sean now to talk a little bit more about the EDU chain specifically and this hackathon event as well.
Thanks, Jake. So yeah, look, I think a lot of what Jake has just mentioned is going to be relevant to now give you a picture as to why EDU Chain exists. So first, what is EDU Chain, right? So EDU Chain, it's a layer 3 rollup built on Arbitrum Orbit Stack. Why a layer 3 and not a layer 2 or even a layer 1, right? Well, the first reason is actually we're here not to solve some of the technical issues in building out blockchains. You know, for example, trying to build out some of the scaling issues or solving some of these sorts of things. Instead, what we're trying to focus on is what happens once you've solved those technological issues. How do you actually build utility? How do you get user acquisition? How do you build a shared common infrastructure for the sorts of DApps that all exist within the same sort of ecosystem, right? And we noticed across all of Web3, every now and again, there'd be pockets of people trying to start their own edtech Web3 ventures, right? But without sort of this access to a pre-existing audience, without access to some common infrastructure that all of these projects were trying to recreate. And so we decided it was better for there to be one place on chain that is the home of all of these sorts of educational Web3 initiatives. And thus was born EDU Chain, right? And that's why it's a layer 3, not a layer 2, so we can focus on this. And I think what's different, you'll find to a lot of new chain launches, is that compared to a lot of brand new chains that are really just brand new and nothing behind it, because we've already got a live token on Binance that is highly liquid, it's battle tested now, it has value. That value is what underpins a lot of what's going to occur within EDU Chain, and we're bringing that value directly into EDU Chain. And on top of that, as Jake mentioned, we already have 500,000 OCID holders, all of whom are going to be your initial audience for the DApps that you build. And then finally, all of the partners that we have, these 60 companies through the Open Campus Accelerator, the 80 through the broader network, all of these companies are coming into EDU Chain as well, and they're going to be building, they're going to be bringing their 20 million addressable learners. And all of this is support that's going to help you actually launch your DApp within EDU Chain. So I think that's something that's really, really exciting and a little different to what you might have seen in previous chain launches, right? So let's talk a bit about the hackathon itself and what is the goal of EDU Chain at a much higher level, right? So I'll show you the blueprint in a second about how we see EDU Chain operating, but fundamentally, we're building a new model where there's learning, earning, and owning. So people can learn, they can own their credentials, and they can earn using those credentials. And to me, this is actually one of the key missions that I want to see happen from EDU Chain. Namely, I want somebody to be able to come onto EDU Chain, go through an education in EDU Chain by picking up and interacting with many different DApps, many different content pieces, upskilling themselves, logging that upskilling into the OCID as a verifiable credential, then taking that credential that they now own and are no longer reliant on somebody else to provide for them into an earning DApp or multiple earning DApps within EDU Chain and actually earn an income, a living, right? I want it to be someone like Ankit, who didn't necessarily have to go through that formal education route, but instead has managed to upskill themselves through the power of blockchain and Web3 and can now earn a brand new living through it, right? Because if we can do that, then we've actually fundamentally changed the way in which people can actually make a living. And ultimately, that's why anybody learns, right? People learn so they can improve themselves, so they can go out and actually get a better livelihood for themselves. So that's really what we're building here today. And that's what all of you are here building with us today as well, right? We are building this future, and that's sort of something that, to me, is a worthwhile endeavor working towards. So let me show you the blueprint of EDU Chain. I've talked about the learn, I've talked about the earn. These should be fairly straightforward, but these are sort of the core utility pillars, if you will, within EDU Chain. But underpinning that, of course, as with any chain, there's the finance element, and there's also the platform infrastructure element, right? So this is the common bits that need to exist within EDU Chain for it to work. And I'll talk a bit more about each one of these in a bit more depth, but I just wanted to bear this blueprint in mind, take a screenshot of it or look at it on a white paper on a website, because this will help you understand where the DApp you're building fits within this ecosystem and how, even though your DApp itself might not necessarily be fully educational, how it actually still fits within the EDU Chain ecosystem, right? So let's go into the hackathon itself, right? So we've got $1 million set aside for prizes, where we split the hackathon into 3 semesters. So today we're here starting semester 1 of the hackathon. So there's $1 million split across these 3 semesters. But apart from that, we've also got a $20 million developer ecosystem fund that the DAO is just about to approve today. So that's really, really exciting news. So on top of this prize pool, we're going to have these $20 million that will form both monetary grant incentives as well as liquidity incentives for the DApps that you deploy into EDU Chain. So that means whatever you deploy into EDU Chain, at the very least, there's this $20 million that's going to support your DApp on day 0. So that's really, really exciting. Let's talk about the tracks themselves, right? I think if you look back to the blueprint before, you'll recall we had the infrastructure, the DeFi, the learn, and the earn. So because we are here at the very earliest stages of EDU Chain, we still need to build out all of that infrastructure, right? So this is a common infrastructure that is utilized across all of the different products that might exist within EDU Chain. Similarly, the DeFi is the financial layer, the liquidity that is needed in order to power all of these educational DApps that are going to exist within EDU Chain. And so for that reason, these 2 tracks are the key tracks that we're focused on in semester 1. Now, that's not to say that's all you can build. Of course, all the other tracks, Edify, Earn, and Learn, as well as miscellaneous, these are all different tracks that you can build on. And especially if you think that the DApp that you need to build doesn't rely on infrastructure or finance that needs to exist as a separate DApp, or you're comfortable building that in your DApp yourself, then go for it. Go ahead and build those out. But at later semesters, there will be a bigger emphasis on these. And I just want to put a shout out there. I think in terms of what we want to see, especially that would be interesting, is a lot of innovation in these different tracks as well. So we've got a list of different ideas. That's great. We'll talk through some of them in a second, but definitely innovate on top of these. And personally, I'm pretty keen to see things like socialify and gamify and see what it means to reimagine these in the context of education, right? So that's just a bit about the tracks. I'm going to hand over to Ankit now, just to talk to a little bit more about the infrastructure piece. Over to you, Ankit.
Thanks, Sean. Yeah, so as Sean said, that we are focused on 2 key tracks. One of them is infrastructure. And I'm pretty sure that the guys watching this and who are native to Web3, they definitely know that to build a successful ecosystem, to build a great chain, you need to have a really good infrastructure on which apps like Socialify or any other apps can be built. Like Sean said, that he would be excited to see more degenerate stuff on EduChain as well, if you guys are ready for it. But to go there, we need really, really cool and reliable infrastructure built from day 0, so that innovators like you can come in and build whatever they want, apart from not just plain boring stuff, but also the cool stuff which can empower learners in an engaging way to come on board EduChain and learn anything that they want. So yeah, like any chain, we have so typically these infrastructure projects that we're looking to get are going to solve 3 key problems. One is helping new community members access the ecosystem in a frictionless way. Second is, how do we help learners get support from the ecosystem? And third, how do developers or projects get access to all the data that's getting generated on chain so that they can use it or bake it inside their product? So these are 3 key questions or problems that we want you to solve for. And if we talk about specific examples now, so I would love to see a marketplace getting built, to be honest, multiple marketplaces getting built on top of EduChain, where people are, uploading their educational content, people are buying it, people are, transferring it, and learning, learning across the world. So it can be in terms of NFTs, it can be in terms of semi-fungible tokens. I want you to go berserk. I don't want you to kind of restrict yourself to what I'm just saying, but think of a marketplace where, let's say, out of those 500,000, Open Campus ID holders, anyone can come, get a course, get a credential, show it to their college. Like in an ideal world, it will be like you are doing everything on chain, and the college or university or a company can just look at your profile, your credentials, and say, okay, I don't need to do any sort of verification on this guy. This is verified by on-chain data. Come join me, come work with me, etc., etc. So that is so marketplace is one big category of projects that I would love to see getting built. The second is, as you all know, if you're not able to fetch data from the chain, or if you're not able to kind of explore the data that's getting registered on chain, it becomes very, very difficult to build products on top of it, which means we need to build a really, really fast and reliable block explorer. So whenever transactions are happening, whenever transfers are happening, people can go verify, people can use that information to to build trust in their communities. So block explorer like Etherscan or BSC scan is a plain vanilla product that you can build. It's a no-brainer. But when I say plain vanilla, it doesn't mean it has to be plain. It has to be really, really powerful for us to empower the community. And on top of it, since someone will build a block explorer, I think another tool that is really, really important is a tool that can query data and index data for faster transactions, faster experiences on chain, because that's one constant problem every chain has faced in terms of like the speed is one big problem every chain faces, right? Like obviously we're built on top of Arbitrum, so we won't have that problem, but we want to make sure that all the data, all the information that's getting generated, anyone can query and index it so that the experience of learners is very, very smooth. So that in an ideal world, people shouldn't actually realize that this is like happening on chain. It should feel like using a Web2 app, which is quick and fast. And the fourth product that I would be super happy to see getting built is a reward mechanism. So people getting rewarded for, let's say, spreading the word about the about a book that's on chain, about a course that's on chain. People kind of going crazy with their referrals, because there are some products like Galaxy which have kind of made it easier, but I think but I believe that there is a lot of innovation left to be done in terms of referrals and incentive models and quests that can exist on EduChain as well. So these are my four dear ones, and like these are very, like, anyone who's aware of Web3, like knows a little bit about Web3 ecosystems would say, oh, these are like a must-have. Apart from this, I would ideally want the community, the developers, the builders to come up with more and more ideas, because we can, like, everyone has a limited field of vision. So I would be super happy if people who are participating in the hackathon come up with 100 different ideas which we'd never thought of, right? So and we're like, oh, like we didn't think of this. This is awesome. Let's just build this and empower the community. So please feel free to go berserk with your ideas, and if it makes sense to you, we would love to kind of take a look at it and help you with the ecosystem fund that we have, with all the support that we have, with all the mentors that we have. and with all the mentoring sessions that we're going to have during next 1 month. So yeah, that's all from my side. Back to you, Sean.
Thanks, Ankit. I think maybe one of the things that I hope everyone takes away from this is within the infrastructure, especially the DeFi as well, if you hear them, these aren't necessarily educational DApps per se, right? And that's why we have this blueprint where we've got the educational utility side with the earn and the learn. But actually, this DeFi and infrastructure layer can be anything. So don't be put off by the fact that this is meant to be an educational chain, that this is all still the core infrastructure that is needed to be built. So even if you don't have any education elements built in, that's perfectly fine. If you do, great. If you can imagine what infrastructure might be needed to build that, even better. But feel free to just build in whatever you think is necessary at a base level for the chain. And we're happy to do that back and forth with you to figure out what that looks like, right? And so similarly with DeFi, as I mentioned, this really is the liquidity layer for EDU Chain. So really the goal of the DeFi track is to actually build up a large amount of liquidity within EDU Chain, such that when the learning and the earning DApps come together, they can actually draw on this deep pool of liquidity to make sure that all of their DApps function smoothly and there's enough liquidity for these transactions to happen, right? So when we look at these DeFi DApps, we've got a few different options that we want to especially look for. So if you look on the list of ideas, there'll be a decent list there, along with some possible forks that you can work on. I'm going to highlight a few here and maybe talk a bit more about first how these might fit within EDU Chain within the educational context, just to help you understand how they fit into the ecosystem. But as I do, I still want to remind you, like I mentioned before, not all of these DApps have to have this educational angle. You know? So perp dexes, I think we all know how perp dexes work by now, but why are perp dexes important within the context of EDU Chain? Well, a lot of it is because we want to really build out this education finance piece, EduFi. And so this is the student loans, the student grants, the scholarships. And in order to actually transact in these, a lot of the time, there are going to be a lot of EduFi DApps and protocols and projects that are going to need to be able to hedge their positions, right? Because they're going to need to be interacting with a lot of different tokens, volatile tokens within the EDU chain. So having a perp dex will allow them to actually hedge these positions. So that's sort of one direct angle into how perp dexes fit within this context. Similarly, borrow and lending allow a similar thing. They allow you to actually take tokens that are maybe a bit more volatile, swap them out in a collateral ratio for stables. So without having to sell the tokens, you can now get stables and interact with other protocols, right? So this works well within an educational context if we're trying to build up this EduFi piece. A couple of other ones that we definitely want to see, bridge. So we do have a canonical bridge, but if you have a clever, innovative method to bridge different funds across, maybe different tokens that we don't have in our bridge, or you've got a very clever incentive mechanism, those are definitely things that we want to see. And then the last one I guess I'll touch on is restaking. So we're all familiar now, I think, with liquid restaking as a big meta. I think in the context of EDU Chain, one of the other things we're very interested in seeing is how we can use restake tokens as collateral, in particular for the education financing, right? So within sort of the student loan mechanism. So that's kind of where liquid restaking as an option would come in beyond sort of the traditional DeFi primitive. So that's just an example of a few ideas within DeFi, but I want to talk a bit more about these additional tracks that we have, just to give you a sense for what they are and how we might look at them. So I've mentioned EduFi a few times. This is the education financing piece. So this is really any DApp that helps that financing of education. So grants, loans, scholarship, anything of this nature. If you think you can build these without the infrastructure and the DeFi component built today, then great, go for it. We definitely want to see some bits built out there. The earning side, I think, like I mentioned, we really do want to close the gap. So if there are any things that will help people within EDU Chain bring their verifiable credentials and then actually earn a living out of that, or some gig economy or task work from it, those are the sorts of things we want to see. I want to take a special moment to talk a bit about the learning side as well, because I think within education, we all have a paradigm in our head about what education looks like, right? It might be going to school, being in a classroom, it might be listening to lectures, it might be doing an exam, a test, and getting a certificate at the end of that. And that's all fine. But I think if we want to bring real innovation using the power of Web3, I want you to not just think of these paradigms and bring them on chain, but actually reimagine what learning can look like. Where else does learning occur outside of these traditional means? Maybe a learning environment is not just a classroom. Maybe it is in a game. Maybe it is in Twitter. There are many different places where education can occur. So free your mind and think outside of the box. And as Ankit mentioned, we're looking really here for crazy ideas. We're not looking for Web 2.5, 2.7, 2.8. We're looking for Web 3, right? Web 3 native ideas. And if you're worried about it being a little degen, don't worry. Just drop us a line Discord. We'll have the back and forth about it, right? We'll let you know if we think it's too crazy. But exercise that creativity and let's really see what can be done. And all of that fits within the miscellaneous category as well. So anything that doesn't clearly fit within sort of edify, earn, or learn. In particular, like I mentioned, I do want to call out SocialFi because I think there's some really interesting stuff that can go on there. But anything else within that sphere that doesn't fit in, feel free to chuck them in, chuck the ideas out, and we'll have a proactive conversation about what that might look like. All right, I'm going to pass back to Jake now just to talk through a bit about the submission process. Over to you, Jake.
Yeah, thanks, Sean, and Ankit as well. And hopefully that's given everyone listening some ideas to think about and got your creative juices flowing around what ideas you could build on for this hackathon event. But I wanted to talk a little bit about once you've worked on those ideas and you're ready to actually submit them, what's the process there? So I've got a few points to go across, and I wanted to start it off with the submission criteria. We'll share a link in the chat now just to the official DoraHack submission page, so you can go through step by step. And I was just going to touch on a couple of key points on the slide as well. There's nothing unusual here. I'm sure you will all be familiar with this type of submission criteria, but a couple of key things that we will be looking for is a short demo video to help us quickly understand what you've built, some of the key features, and this will just help the judges be able to quickly analyze the type of thing that you've built. Not every judge is super technical, so having a clear breakdown of exactly what your product is and how the features will be impactful will be really helpful for us during the judging period. And the second thing I wanted to touch on out of this list that I've got on screen is we really want to get to know the teams and the builders themselves. And we're looking to set up long-term relationships with anyone that is coming through the hackathon events. So as much detail as you can pour into your profile page, so we know what you've worked on before, what you're passionate about, and just a little bit more about your background is going to really help us in the judging period as well. And finally, just wanted to highlight that multiple submissions are completely fine. If you are a really passionate builder that can execute well and you've got more than one idea that you want to contribute to this ecosystem, we're going to welcome that with open arms. If you are one of those people, yeah, please don't let just one idea hold you back. Please go for more. So yeah, please do take a look at the link that's hopefully been shared in the chat for full details, and you can have the step-by-step submission guide, but just wanted to touch on a few key things that we'll be looking at throughout the submissions. And similarly, just wanted to touch on a few bits of the judging criteria as well. Again, I'm not going to go through everything here. I just wanted to dive deeper on a few key points. And what you see at the top is ecosystem impact and integration. So just wanted to explain exactly what we mean by that. And I think the three things we'll be measuring ecosystem impact across is, will a DApp bring TVL to EDU Chain? Will it bring new users, or will it bring attention? Because I think ultimately those three metrics are kind of the foundation of success for any blockchain. So TVL, users and attention, will be a big part of the judging criterion. those DApps that we think can do that will have a good chance of finishing higher up the ranks. And on a similar note, something else I wanted to dive into is community engagement. And again, what do we mean by that is, does the DApp have features that can encourage ongoing participation and contribution? Will it actually retain users? Will it keep them coming back to EDU Chain to make more transactions? Because again, that's going to be how we actually get a higher transaction volume on the chain. So community engagement is another core piece of what any DApp will be judged on. And Sean has rightly said that it doesn't have to have an education angle, but being a decentralized education ecosystem, one of the criteria will also be impact on education. Does it solve real problems for students, teachers, education finance, edtech business models? And if it's a yes to any of them, we definitely want to see it. So impact on education, it won't be across everything, because it can be purely DeFi or purely infrastructure, but it will be something we'll be looking at throughout the hackathon events, especially the later ones when we get to learn and earn too. So yeah, that few things I wanted to highlight. Everything on screen is important, but I just wanted to dive a little bit deeper on a few. And again, there's more information on the judging criteria on the Dora Hacks page. So if you click through to the link that's been shared, you can read a bit more detail on all of those. So I thought it would also be good to introduce the judges to you, who's actually going to be judging the submissions. And everyone you see on the screen here have been assembled from the network of strategic partners that Open Campus has. We've got people from Animoca Brands, Forbes Web3, ApeCoin, and lots more too. And all of these guys are extremely passionate about growing the EDU Chain ecosystem. They're very heavily involved. They've been contributing to the ecosystem for some time already. So they're joining us on the judging panel, and you guys can meet them on the demo day if you're invited to that. And they'll also be in our community channel, so you can connect with them directly. So yeah, this is the wonderful cast. And one thing I wanted to do as well is, if you are on the chat, tell us who you'd most like to meet. You don't have to say Sean just because he's on the call, but we want to know which one of these guys you'd most like to meet, just as a fun exercise. So yeah, please ping it in the chat. And I'm going to pass back over to Sean now, just to highlight a bit more about the prize pool.
Thanks, Jake. Yeah, so look, across the $1 million prize pool in the 3 semesters, this hackathon's a bit shorter, so it's going to be focused on a $200,000 prize pool. The priority tracks get the majority of the prize pool, so that's $60,000 for each of infrastructure and DeFi. So if you look to the left here, you can see that the first 10 winners will all receive a different prize level. So this is the first 10 in infrastructure and the first 10 in DeFi as well. Now, that's not to say that the other tracks won't receive prizes, because they do as well. So each of the additional 4 tracks, so Edufy, Earn, Learn, and Miscellaneous, each get 20,000. So each of these will get the first 5 winning prizes, as you can see on the right. So that's 5 winners for Edufy, 5 winners for Earn, 5 winners for Learn, and 5 winners for the Miscellaneous track. So this is really exciting, but that's not all, right? This is really just the beginning. The prize pool winners will be invited to join a special cohort of the Open Campus Accelerator. This is the program that we've been running now for 6 cohorts, so it's a well-oiled machine. But we're actually doing a special cohort where it's extended for a longer duration. And what we're going to be doing in this cohort is actually helping you take the MVPs, take the prototypes, take the first versions of the products that you built during this hackathon, and actually take it to the next level. So we're going to be bringing in mentors from Animoca Brands, from all the other great companies within our network, the Open Campus Alliance as well, to help you understand your journey into how you're going to do your go-to-market, how you're going to do your BD, how you're going to do your user acquisition, your marketing, and really we want to help you grow your user base and grow your TVL. So this is a longer commitment. It is an equity-free program as well. So you're going to come in and you're going to go through this. We're going to take you to the next level, make sure that you actually grow and get your TVL. But on top of that, at the end of that, you're actually going to get a chance to get investment from the Animoca team as well as earn grants from the DAO Foundation itself. So there's more money at the end of this accelerator, both in the form of grants as well as investment capital, with Animoca Brands possibly leading your round. And on top of that, we've still got more opportunities here. So we will be having, through our partner Forbes Web3, an article going out, as well as potential other web coverage, media coverage for you. On top of the grant that's available within the Open Campus Accelerator Program itself, for certain companies, we will be helping you put together the DAO proposal submission if you want to go for further funding. And if you want to look for a successful case of this, our partners here today, Ryzen and HackQuest, they came through the Open Campus Accelerator, and we helped them put together the DAO proposal for the $20 million ecosystem fund that you see today. So this route already exists, and we will be helping you go through the same route yourself. And then finally, as Jake mentioned, you will have access to the private Discord channel, along with all the judges and the experts that we're going to bring in from our community to try and help you build this out. So all in all, a slew of different incentives for you. But I think the one takeaway I really, really want you guys to think about is this isn't just a hackathon with a few 5,000, 10,000 prize at the end of it. There is a much bigger prize, and that is us really pushing you, trying to help you have a successful project that's actually going to have TVL, revenue, investments, maybe even token launches down the line, right? So just bear that in mind. We are here for the long haul. All right, back to you, Jake.
Awesome. Thanks, Sean. And yeah, I'm conscious we're getting close to the hour, and I want to make sure we've got time for Q&A. So I won't spend too long on the remaining slides, but just wanted to touch on a few more things before we get to the Q&A. And the first is the workshop schedule. So hopefully you'll be pleased to know this won't be the last time you'll see us. And there's lots more workshops to come. The first one is going to be Wednesday this week at the same time at 1 p.m. UTC. And this will be led by Harry from HackQuest. And he's going to be doing a tech onboarding session to Arbitrum Orbit. So I'm sure everyone listening is an accomplished developer, but it could be the first time you've built within Arbitrum Orbit. So we're going to have a session run by HackQuest to dive a little bit deeper into Arbitrum Orbit and how you can deploy on this ecosystem. Then Ankit will be back the Wednesday after that for a tactical session about integrating back-end code with front-end solutions. So he'll spend an hour with you guys on that on July 24th at 1 p.m. UTC again. And the final workshop we've got scheduled at the moment is a tech clinic. And this will be hosted by the Arbitrum core team themselves. And what we're going to do here is piece together all of the feedback from office hours that we're hosting and all of the questions that come up in the Discord. And again, it will be a tactical session on just running through the common problems that people have gone through throughout the hackathon, just to make sure that everyone's unblocked and clear of what they need to do before the submission closes. So that'll be right at the end of the month on July the 31st. And again, at 1 p.m. UTC, we're sticking to the same time there. So yeah, please do come back and tune in for them. And just wanted to mention, we've already talked about it a little bit, but the Discord channel. So we're going to pop a link into the chat now so you can join right away. And this is the place to go to connect with other developers. This will be where EDU Chain mentors are that you can ask direct questions to get support. We're going to put the hackathon judges in there as well. And of course, the rest of the Open Campus community will be there for you to engage with. They might even be able to help out with some ideas of what they would like to see on chain. So yeah, please do join via the link. And this will also be the place where you can sign up for office hours that we're going to put on. I'll be sharing a schedule soon in the forum channel with exactly how to sign up and the schedule of office hours. So if you are stuck and you need a bit more support or just have some questions for our engineering team, that's when you can book in and connect with the mentors there. And there'll be about 10 of those on hand to answer all of your questions. We've made sure that they're spread out across the whole globe, so every time zone is covered, so that you should get fairly quick responses to anything you might be stuck on. So yeah, once again, please do join the Discord, and it'd be great to chat with you soon. I'll be in there a lot, so will Sean, so will Ankit, so you can connect with us more there. And yeah, as we're getting close to the end, but I just wanted to do a quick exercise. As we said, we're looking to get to know all the developers, and we thought, why not start now? So we've got 3 different buckets of people here. I'm in it to win it. I'm new, I want to learn, and I want to connect with others. So please type in the chat 1, 2, or 3 based on where you think you are right now, and I'll go through a little bit about the types of support we've got for each one of these people. But I'll pause just for a second, let you type in which group you think you are, and then I'll go through the different types of support. I can't see the chat, but I'm hoping it's flooded with answers right now. So the first group, if you're in it to win it, if you're confident that you're just ready to get started and building your products, I think the best thing to do is just attend all of the upcoming workshops. That's gonna allow you to get to know specifics about EDU Chain and what the Open Campus Foundation want to achieve. And I think that will help you design products that align with the overall vision for the chain. So yeah, for you guys that are just already chasing down the prize money and you've got some great ideas, just please do attend the workshops and stay closely aligned with what we want to achieve. For the second group of people, if you're new to Arbitrum Orbit or a relatively new developer and you're wanting to use this opportunity to learn, the best thing to do is to get in the Discord and sign up for the office hours and the one-to-one sessions. We're going to try and put on as many as possible so that all of you guys will have a chance to participate in one of these sessions. And it's just a good way for you to speak to experienced developers that can help you on your journey in this ecosystem. And then finally, if you are in the third group and you want to connect with others, again, Discord is the place to go. We're trying to set up community channels so that you guys can connect with each other. Hopefully you'll be able to meet other builders to collaborate on projects for EDU Chain, or you might just want to hang out and talk with one another. So yeah, that would be Discord as the place to go there. And whatever group you're in, we want you participating in the hackathon. It's open to everyone. We want a wide and diverse range of developers in our ecosystem. So yeah, wherever you're at right now, please do still participate, and looking forward to getting to know you soon. And the final thing before we get to the Q&A is just a quick look at the roadmap. So officially submissions opened today, and we've got 30 days before the deadline closes. So that would be August 14th. And quickly after that period of time, we will have a demo day. And this will be where a handful of projects will be invited to come and pitch to the judges, and we can talk through your products in more details. And then we'll go on to the winners announcement, which will be where the winners will get put into the Forbes article, which is a bit of a mum, I made it moment. So I'm very excited for all of you guys that get featured in Forbes. And that will then lead on to the accelerator program that Shan's been talking about today. That will be what follows on this first semester, and we can continue working with you to deploy your products on EDU Chain. And the exact date of mainnet launch, the final thing on this roadmap slide, will be announced soon, but it'll be announced towards the sort of the close of this semester. So yeah, hopefully we've done a good job of talking you through exactly what Open Campus is, and you're excited as we are now about building with EDU Chain. And yeah, really appreciate everyone that's turned up and given you time to listen to us. And I think we've got around 5 minutes now just for some Q&A. So if there's anything that's come up in the chat, would be great to answer a few of your questions now, and anything we don't answer, we can do in Discord as well.
Thanks a lot, Jake. I think that was one of the best, most detailed and the most interesting opening ceremony that I've been to. Seems like we don't have any questions in the chat. Like I said, everything was crystal clear. But what we've done is we've dropped a link to the Discord, so hopefully everyone can go on there, vibe a bit, meet the team, meet other developers, drop your ideas. And yeah, that should be the CTA for today. And like Jake already touched upon a lot of other things. We have more workshops. So oh, seems like we do have yeah, one question in the chat. I think traction will not be the main criteria for being the winner. So yeah, hopefully, Jake, can you also spread some light on the criteria of how you will pick the winners? We have, yeah, that's the question.
Yeah, so best place to look at the full list of judging criteria is to head to the Dora Hacks page, and there's like more detail on that. But like I said, some of the things that we'll be focused on throughout the judging period will be, can it bring TVL users and attention? That will be a big thing. background on the team and what you've done in the past and whether you can execute on your ideas, and then also impact on education. Will this be able to change some aspect of the education industry, be it finance, be it teaching journeys, or be it learning journeys? So there'll be some of the core things, and yeah, please head to the Dora Hacks page for more detail. And Sean, I don't know if there's anything else you'd want to highlight on the judging process in terms of what
Yeah, maybe just specifically around what traction means as well. I think traction is going to be very different for different dApps that are built on EDU Chain. So look, we don't necessarily need you to have a fully functioning dApp with hundreds of millions of TVL in 30 days, right? That's not what we're looking for. What we're really looking for are the seeds, the potential to actually bring in these things that Jake is talking about. So can it bring in users? Can it bring in TVL? Can it bring in attention? Do we believe that that is possible in the future? That's definitely some way that we can assess it. Of course, if you do manage to score any metrics around that, maybe it's you do get a Twitter following, maybe it is you get like a core group of beta users, early adopters. All of that will definitely help, but it's not by any means the be-all end-all. So really, we're looking for the potential of the ideas here and how far along we think the team can take it, especially if we can support them to do so.
Great. I think a good tip from my side to all the developers or builders participating in this hackathon would be to utilize the fields when you submit or when you turn in your build or your project. There are a lot of fields that you can utilize, which is essentially about your roadmap, about your team. So utilize that to the fullest. Make the EDU Chain team super bullish on you and your project. And yeah, that should be a good start for your project. And this is also to highlight a lot of these projects that participate are early stage projects. So like Shan mentioned, we don't need like, million TVL, million users. What we do need is a clear roadmap and just seeing what you can envision for your project. But yeah, like I was mentioning previously, we do have a series of workshops and 30 days for you to put on your builder hat, build, and share with the team, share with other developers, share with the world what you've built. So I wish everyone a very good luck, all the builders participating in this hackathon. Good luck, and feel free to reach out to the Dora Hacks team and also the organizers wherever you are stuck, anytime you have a question, and we'll be happy to solve it out for you. With that, thank you everyone for attending, and thank you team for the amazing support and the amazing presentation that you got us through.
I appreciate you hosting us, Mashika, and yeah, pleasure to get to know everyone listening, and looking forward to chatting some more throughout the event.
Thanks everyone. Look forward to working with you all.
Likewise. Thank you team. Take care. Bye-bye everyone.